That's why nobody did it until one did it, and then it spread out in Europe. And people were very scared, especially the monarchs in this time, that it would spread even further than Europe. And after a while, it did. But to just say that all the revolutions after afterwards give a bad outcome is not always the case, right? Maybe in the Russian Revolution it was different, but in the French Revolution it was quite a good thing because we had quite a prosperous time after that, especially when Napoleon took over, even if it was for a short period. But it depends on the context, the country, so many aspects. So yeah, Mehdi.
To your point, upgrade. A lot of people think that French Revolution that decided it all. It is not the case. It went back to a monarchy afterwards because what they were trying to do just got so crazy. And like he was saying about Robespierre just lopping off people's heads, that people were sick of it. So they went back to the monarchy and then eventually went to what we see right now. But a lot of people don't know that is that it was so bad they just said, fuck it, just bring the king back.
Exactly. We had the emperor. Even
Yeah.
worse, right? We had the emperor. It was not even
Yeah.
a king anymore. He was he was the emperor. He decided even over more things. Afterwards, you can say that he implemented also a lot of good things who are applicable in many countries in Europe and even in the world, right? The civil code, judgment, in front of a court, school systems, also military tactics and stuff like that. There was a big time of prosperous thinking in the French nation, and that went on everywhere, right? Before already Napoleon, right? Also the kings, when you saw that the Russians looked at Versailles as some like peak of the monarchy, in the world, right? It was very sophisticated things going on, but unfortunately, it started also your own people. So that was the backdrop, right? Uh, Desi.
Yeah, I view Napoleon very much part of the revolution because he was the one who successfully exported the Republican ideals throughout Europe. The Robespierre, the Jacobins did not, right? And without Napoleon, there's a good chance that republicanism could have completely been crushed, essentially, and would have been a footnote in history, and monarchism and feudal society would have survived. But at the same time, I think the direct result, the economic results of the French Revolution was definitely, at least like in the for at least 50 years, it was negative for France. Radical movements, especially violent ones, is will be inherently, negative in the short run, just like the French Revolution or the Russian Revolution or any revolution you take. Like there are several examples in Africa, especially, right? They gain, a liberation movement, yeah, freeze a African nation, and they immediately start infighting, and just it's worse than colonialism, essentially. But yeah, in the long run, radicalism does it is a force of change, essentially, but usually change, if it is brought in violently through revolutions, will be absolutely negative in the short and medium term, at least. And just like Mehdi said, the people got so fed up that they went back to monarchy, right? And there was that the French Second Republic came in, which was so corrupt that they brought back another emperor,
Right.
Napoleon's cousin, nephew, right? He
Is
became
yes,
Napoleon
nephew.
III.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
but he failed totally. He was
he
going. He
also
said
failed.
that he has his gene of his of Napoleon, and that he is a great war leader. And we got totally destroyed by the Prussian army.
Prussians. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And also I want to point out that it is only during times of crisis does these violent revolutions take place. There is an argument, but then we are going into alternate history, so take it with a grain of salt, that the changes that we saw take place violently in history could have happened at a more glacial pace, but some things might have been inevitable. There's an argument. I don't subscribe to this argument, but that a lot of people do. And maybe the industrial revolution might have inevitably happened, so that might have brought in liberalism eventually to the mainstream. So that's why I like, especially when I'm talking to communists, I give them this advice, like, it's go you know before you plan for the revolution, plan for the day after the revolution first, and then you decide how you want to overthrow the government. Most don't. Anyway, Upgrade and Mehdi, who wants to go
Yeah,
first?
just to say real quick, most of what Upgrade said was Jacobite propaganda, anti-royalist Jacobite propaganda. There's no way of establishing as a matter of historical fact that the improvements that happened to French society were actually because of the revolution. Like it could have been just a simple process of technological advancement, and what happened after, and you can also argue that arguably the French people are worse off because of all of that. Even up to this day, they're still suffering the consequences of that terrible decision of following the propaganda against their beloved monarchs that just wanted the best for
So
them,
you're pro
and that
monarchy, Gabriel?
Based.
I'm
Sorry, I mean, like, what's your argument? Are you pro somebody just ruling over everybody and nobody can say anything? I'm confused now.
well, that hasn't changed. I'm against that, but that's a state of affairs. It's not like it changed because monarchy was. There is
At least we're not
arguments in favor
starving,
of
right?
monarchy.
Like, that's an
What?
improvement.
What?
At least we're not starving and nobody can just come and take all your fucking shit away, like, your food. At least you can eat.
Yeah, but
Unless it's
For now.
they can.
Brexit, unless it's
Like that's why I said
inflation.
you can't establish that as a
It's not improvement.
consequence
Is
of.
it improvement or what? I'm confused now. So
Someone's microphone is echoing.
Oh my god.
The
you're
echo
echoing
is.
so much.
Yeah, you guys have to let Gabriel finish what he want to say. If not, no, we are all gonna die in his
He will
echoes.
continue for 5 hours.
Yeah, you have continue for 5 minutes.
No, like
I don't think it's
I'm not. I'm
propaganda.
not making an argument in favor of monarchy, but I am arguing against certain historical propaganda items. Like the fact that the improvement, like people aren't starving, and that they have more liberties today because the monarchy was deposed. That is, it's either false or open to interpretation. Because
Well,
the
I mean,
French
look at
people.
England. England's a monarchy. England's a monarchy, and if you say that you don't want your tax dollars to go to migrants, you go to jail. So how's a fucking monarchy good?
Thank you, Vaughn.
I mean, then you got fat sausage fingers. You can't draw a cross on a pothole. You can't draw a cross on a trash bag. You can't hang one off a flagpole. I mean, monarchies ain't all that. I mean, unless you like fucking your sister and marrying your cousin.
Habsburgs. With the chin that comes down to here, the Habsburg chin. I was just going to say, though, about what we're talking about, it didn't just end with the French Revolution and was stuck with the France. There was a scare in 1848 where many of the monarchies thought that their citizenship were going to overthrow them, like happened in France. It was pure hyperbole and it didn't really exist, but these countries went absolutely batshit trying to stem anything that was happening that was like that. So you know, it rippled out from there, and it probably still did. It may be the reason why Europe went more, you know, towards I don't know how you put it, more democratic type of government with the monarchy still in place, with the parliament type of deal where the parliament checks the monarchy.